Let's go. We see that hype outside. Right from now.
Guys, Golden here, and welcome back to another Fortnite mobile update video. Today, we got some insane stuff to discuss because we actually got some leaks showing that Epic has actually been working on Fortnite iOS, and I'll be explaining why this is such a massive deal for the mobile community in today's video. And also, guys, we got some more updates on the trial winner announcement, so make sure you guys watch until the very end to make sure you guys get all the news. Now, before we jump right on into it, I just want to quickly remind you guys, if you are adding new to my channel and want to know when Fortnite does end up returning to iOS or more updates on Fortnite Mobile, make sure you guys are all subscribed down below because this channel is the #1 source for Fortnite mobile news. But either way, you guys know I don't want to waste you guys' time, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the mobile news. All right, so heading right on into today's video. First of all, I want to talk about the actual trial between Epic Games and Apple. Now, if you're watching this, you most likely are aware that Epic and Apple went to court on May 3rd and ended up finishing the trial on May 24th. And this trial between the two companies had some funny moments, some super impactful moments like Tim Cook going into the courtroom, and a bunch of crazy stuff went down in this courtroom. Now, at the end of the trial, many people were expecting to hear a winner within a few weeks, but now it has been nearly 2 months since the trial ended, and you guessed it, we still don't know who won. Now, I get asked hundreds of times when we'll know a winner, but unfortunately, nobody really knows. Your mom doesn't know, your grandpa doesn't know, I don't know, nobody knows. I mean, except maybe the judge. But we're now over halfway through July, and this was around the time I predicted we'd be getting a winner, but this week, we got some news that could completely change when we could expect to hear a winner. Now, a few days ago, we got some news that Apple requested to file thousands of new documents and pages to the lawsuit. Now, if you guys have been somewhat keeping up with this lawsuit, the winner was expected to be announced within weeks. However, companies in this lawsuit continue to file more and more documents every single week. And the reason why it's such a big deal is because the more documents that are submitted, the longer it takes the judge to announce a winner. Because guys gotta understand, the judge has to read through all of the documents that are submitted in order to obviously come with decisions. You can't be like, all right, I don't want to read some of Apple's documents, but I'm going to read all of Epic's documents. It's just not really fair. So unfortunately, she has to read through all the documents that are submitted, which definitely sucks. Now, the only good thing about these documents which got filed is because they got submitted so late, there's a chance the judge could deny them and tell Apple, who's the one who submitted the documents, that she will not accept them. So if that does end up happening, we can expect a winner hopefully before the end of the month. But if she does decide to approve the documents, then we likely are going to have to wait another few weeks to maybe even over a month before we get a winner, which honestly, guys, that just would suck. And not to mention, the judge did say the August 13th day was a joke, but honestly, it's really not sounding like a joke anymore, and we might have to wait until August before we get a winner, which means mobile doesn't even have a chance to come back until then, which honestly, guys, this is just getting crappy and crappier by the second. And I know we've already waited 11 months, almost a year, but still, every single day we don't have mobile, I just get more and more annoyed because I just want the game back. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly give you guys a quick update on how the trial is going. I'm curious when you guys think we'll be getting a winner, and hopefully when we do get a winner, we will get the game back. But I'm super confident in that at least. But drop me a comment down below letting me know when you personally think we'll be seeing a winner in the Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit. Anyways, though, heading on into the next topic, let's talk about Epic secretly working on Fortnite iOS. Now, ever since the ban, there was a rumor going around that Epic was secretly working on Fortnite mobile updates even while the game was banned. Now, this rumor actually came from Epic when they actually explained how they had been sending updates to Apple consistently, but Apple continued to deny them because all of the updates had one thing in common. They all had Epic's direct payment system, which, if you guys didn't know, is breaking Apple's terms of service. So obviously, Apple denied all of the updates. Now, because of this, obviously, we were not receiving any updates on iOS. However, we didn't really hear about this for a while, so it's very likely Epic stopped working on updates for iOS for a very long time. There's no evidence proving otherwise. Now, obviously, I mentioned this a lot in my previous videos. I explained how even if Epic could bring their game back after the trial, Epic would then have to code almost a year of updates for Fortnite Mobile, which would likely take an extra few weeks. However, a little bit ago, we got some new news telling us that this will likely not be the case, because a little bit ago, according to F&M Competitive, a super trustworthy Fortnite Mobile source, he said a reliable leaker provided video evidence of the future of Fortnite, confirming an Ariana Grande concert, Justice League potential promotion, the Cube returning later in the season, along with multiple Season 8 leaks. Now, the best part, it was leaked on an iOS build. Now, many of you guys are probably confused on what this means for Fortnite Mobile. Well, assuming this source is correct, then I 100% trust F&M Competitive, so I believe this source is accurate. And to further confirm the source, if you guys are a little bit suspicious, apparently an Epic employee actually leaked out some crazy stuff coming in the future of Fortnite. And by the way, the same Epic employee leaked everything in Season 6, and all of the news from Season 6 was 100% accurate. So I'm just saying, guys, this guy's trustworthy. But basically, the same source from Season 6 leaked out some stuff for this season, and he confirmed that the Cube would be returning later this season, which connects to F&M Competitive source, confirming I am 99% sure F&M Competitive source is legit. So, assuming the source is accurate, this confirms Epic is working on Fortnite's iOS updates once again. Now, you're probably wondering, how does this mean that? Well, because all these future leaks for things coming as soon as this season came from a Fortnite iOS build, and if you didn't know, a build of an app update is basically what it sounds like. It's a pre-release version of a version of an app, if that kind of makes sense. So for example, before Season 7 was released, there was a build version of Season 7 to prepare to release the new season. So because these leaks came from an iOS version, this means Epic has been programming new upcoming Season 7 and Season 8 updates for Fortnite iOS. And I don't know about you guys, but this definitely seems like Epic is overall preparing to potentially bring Fortnite back onto iOS whenever the winner is announced. Because there's just no reason for Epic to spend hours coding these updates for iOS if they're not planning on doing something with the updates. There's just really no reason to do that. So there's a really solid chance that whenever the winner is announced, we will see the game back on iOS. And perhaps even if Epic loses, since clearly they're putting a lot of time into iOS, there's a good chance no matter what happens, let's say Apple wins, they'll still bring their game back on iOS. Because let's say Apple won, then they just wasted hours coding these updates for iOS to just not release them. It just doesn't make sense. Now, not only is this good news in terms of them potentially bringing it back, but this is also good news for how long it's gonna take them to bring it back. As I briefly talked about a little bit ago, Epic would have had to code about a year of updates, which understandably would have taken a really long time to do. But now that we know that they've already been preparing updates for iOS to come back and already been coding these updates for the mobile community, it's very likely we will see the game back on iOS within 48 hours after the winner is announced, all assuming things go good whenever the winner is announced. So let's just hope that happens. But anyways, heading on into the next topic, I want to talk about the legal battle between Epic and Apple that's been going on in other countries. Now, most of the mobile community has only been focused on the United States case, since that's where the lawsuit started, and more overall, there's been more news on the US case. However, it's important to note that there's actually another lawsuit going on between Epic and Apple in other countries. Now, the main notable ones are the Australia and United Kingdom case, which today we got a little bit more news on both of those, and they could actually have a massive impact on Fortnite Mobile. And just listen for what I'm about to say. So first off, the UK lawsuit actually recently got dismissed by the judge because Apple's United Kingdom branch apparently had no argument to make. But as the judge shut it down, he did mention that, quote unquote, Epic Games had a strong case in America based on US regulations and Apple's practices. Now guys, to hear a judge from another country who clearly has a lot of knowledge on the law and legal battles, to hear him say that Epic has a strong case, that is huge. It really did seem like the judge in the US was siding with Epic as well. So overall, it's looking really solid for Epic, which is good news for the mobile community because if Epic wins, I am 99% sure the game is going to be returning on iOS. Now, obviously, it is a little bit disappointing that the case did get shut down in the UK, but that shouldn't have too much of an impact since my guess is the UK case was just a backup for the US case if things went against Epic in the US case. But another case that did not get shut down is the Australian case, which actually did get shut down by the court a few months ago, but this week, Epic requested to continue the fight in Australia and the court approved. So guys, it definitely seems like Epic is playing it safe with these lawsuits, and while we wait for the US winner to be announced, Epic is preparing to fight Apple in other countries if, let's say, things do end up going wrong in the US. So this definitely gives us a little bit of comfort knowing that there's other chances out there for Epic to beat Apple besides the US case. So let's just say the US winner comes out and, goes wrong and Fortnite Mobile doesn't return. We still have Australia as a backup. In Australia case could end up going good, but let's just hope it doesn't get to that point because I'm not trying to wait another 6 months for the Australia case to finish. But anyways, guys, unfortunately, that's all the news we have to talk about in today's video. But thank you guys so much for watching until the very end. I will keep you guys updated if we get any more Fortnite Mobile news updates. And of course, whenever we do get the verdict, I will break it down for all of you guys, letting you guys know if Fortnite Mobile is going to be returning. So make sure you guys are all subscribed, those post notifications on. But either way, this has been golden. Do with this information as you will, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace